Hey Freedom Gorillas, like Thanos collecting the Infinity Stones, I have finally gotten all of the Holosun SCS optics as well as all the platforms that they belong on. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how each of the SCS optics look on its platform, how each platform can co-witness with that optic, how to use the optics, any technical stats that you should know, as well as answering all common questions we get asked about the SCS lineup. Okay, and I'm going to show all these optics installed on their platform in a second here. But before I do that, there's a lot of crossover on these optics that we could just kind of cover all together. There's essentially two designs. There's the open emitter, which means there's not a second pane of glass here. Then there's the closed emitters, which there is a second pane of glass on the back. All of these are made of 775 T6 aluminum, except the MOS version. The MOS only is made with grade 5 titanium. All of these do have the MRS reticle system, which is the 2 MOA dot and 32 MOA ring. And all of these do have the same window size as a regular 407K or 507K, except the SCS 320, which has a slightly larger window size. And I'll get into it in a bit, but the SCS Carry and SCS 320 actually share a common footprint. This one is the K series footprint, and this one's the DPP footprint. So these can go on multiple platforms, whereas the open emitters can only go on their specific platform. But we'll cover that when we get to the section of these installed on the pistols. All right, and this is what the SCS MOS looks like on a Glock 19. So this will fit all full-size Glock models, anything with an MOS system. The only MOS Glocks it does not fit is the Glock 43X and the 48. In that case, you'll have to use the SCS Carry, which we'll cover that in one sec. And if you're looking for a co-witness, this will give you the best co-witness with standard height iron sights. Next, we have the Walther PDP. Now this will fit on both the PDP and F models. One thing I did want to note about the SCS PDP is that this optic is only for the 2.0 cuts, not the 1.0. The 1.0 will not work with the SCS PDP. This is the SCS MP2. And as far as co-witnessing goes, this is probably your best option. And here we have the SCS P10. This is a P10C, but it also worked for the P10F. And then it will also work with the CZ Shadow 2. It's the same cut as the P10. The biggest difference is you lose your rear iron sight completely on the Shadow 2. All right, and here we have the HK VP9. This optic is going to give you the best co-witness. And here we have the SIG P320 with the SCS 320. Now this is our first enclosed emitter that we've seen so far. It actually has a DPP footprint. So if you have a gun that could take a DPP footprint, like the Springfield Echelon, for example, this will fit on it. So this one is one of the two that aren't platform specific, although it was made specifically for the P320. And another thing to note here is it does not co-witness like the other SCS optics do. All right, and lastly, we have the SCS Carry. So this actually shares the same footprint as the EPS Carry, which is also a K series footprint. It is slightly different than the RMSC footprint like you see on the Glocks and Hellcats. It does fit with this with the included plate for the SCS Carry. I'll show you that in a second. But this is the first SCS optic that they made that's not platform specific. It can fit on anything that the 407K, 507K, or EPS Carry can fit on. So here's it on a P365. Here's it on the 43X. And this will need special screws, so I'm going to go over the screws in the next section here. And with the plate installed, here it is on the Hellcat. So the SCS just means solar charging sight. It's using a combination of solar and an internal rechargeable battery, and you can't change these batteries at all, unlike the other Holosun optics. If at any point a panel receives light, it will start to top the battery off. And when you're in complete darkness or insufficient light, it is going to use that internal battery to recharge the sight. Now, a question we get asked a ton is how long does this thing take to charge? How long does it take to discharge? So how long can I leave it somewhere in like a safe, for example, where it's getting no light at all. So this is actually directly from Holosun. We're gonna go over 2 tables here, but just know that in the most extreme case, 12 microamps of power will be consumed when the circle dot mode is used for 10 hours, and it can charge at 100 microamps per hour when charging outdoors for 1 hour. So overall, the rate of charge is much higher than the power consumption rate. So if you're using this normally, there's like virtually no need to worry about power consumption. But for those who do worry, here's the stats. So if you have the Optic turned off and it's in a safe, there's no light hitting it whatsoever, the internal battery is using 0.05 microamps. So it's going to take 200,000 hours to totally discharge when it's fully charged. If you have the Optic turned off and you're in an indoor environment, it is going to charge. So it's going to charge between 1 to 10 microamps. It's going to take 10,000 hours to fully charge. If you're in an outdoor environment, it's going to charge at a rate of 300 microamps. So it's going to take 50 hours to charge. Again, this is with the Optic turned off. Okay, so say you have the Optic turned on. If you have it in the safe, again, there's no light hitting it. If it's just the dot, it's going to use 0.05 microamps. And again, it's going to take 200,000 hours to totally discharge when it's fully charged. If it's the circle plus dot, it's using 0.2 microamps. And it's going to discharge at 60,000 hours. If you're at an indoor environment that's 10 to about 1,000 lux, so 1,000 lux would probably be a really bright office that has LED lights. According to Google, your average home is probably going to be 300 lux. So if you have just the dot, it's going to discharge at a rate of 0.05 microamps. It's going to take 200,000 hours to fully discharge. If you have the circle and dot, it's going to discharge at 1.2 microamps. It's going to take 10,000 hours to fully discharge. In an outdoor environment, so you're outside, it's sunny out, it's going to charge now. If you're using just the dot, it's going to charge at 300 microamps an hour, which is going to fully charge in 50 hours. If you have the circle plus dot, it's going to charge at 270 microamps an hour. So it's going to take 60 hours to fully charge. All right, guys, so the too long didn't read with all of that is essentially 50 to 60 hours outside to fully charge according to the manual. So essentially all that boils down to is you can leave it in a safe for up to 2 years with no light on it whatsoever. It's in the complete darkness before you even need to think about putting some sunlight onto it. And I know people always say in the comments on anything SCS related, the battery's not going to last forever, so how long does the Optic truly last? From what I've heard on Reddit, and I've asked Holosun directly, everyone seems to think it is 7 to 10 years. The SCS MOS, which was the first SCS model released, as of this video, is about 2 years old. So really we're not at that point yet. So currently it's new technology. It should be good. In 7 to 10 years is when it'll probably die. At that point, let's get a new Optic. All right, so the next question we get asked about the SCS all the time is, why doesn't it have shake awake? And the simple answer to that is, it doesn't need it. You're supposed to leave this Optic on. It's essentially a set it and forget it. So you turn this thing on, it's going to charge. It's always going to make sure that it charges more than you can use it, and you essentially never have to touch it again. Set it to the reticle that you want, which I'll show you how to do in a second here, and then that's it. So to reiterate, it doesn't need shake awake because it's always on. Shake awake normally turns the Optic on when it goes to sleep, staying on forever because it charges faster than you can use it. Another question we get asked all the time is, why does it only come in a green reticle, and how come there's no red reticles available? And Holosun has said essentially that the green reticle uses less power consumption than the red, and because of that, it's able to achieve the battery life goals that it wants. Through all the red reticle testing that they did, it did not achieve the battery results that they wanted, so they're sticking with green only. It doesn't seem like they're going to release a red reticle on the SCS lineup. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to operate the SCS models. Doesn't matter which one, they all have one button. This one button does the same thing for all of them. So to turn it on, you're going to long press that button right here. And then it turns on. Just for a quick comparison, all the other Holosun models do have buttons, a plus and minus button that let you do anything related to increasing the brightness, to changing the different settings. Again, the SCS lineup has one button that does everything. So this means you can't manually control the brightness. And to control the brightness, you could temporarily increase it. You have to fast press this button and then it brightens up. Press the button again, it gets rid of the temporary brightness. To change the reticle, you're going to press the one button and hold it for like 2 seconds. So when you turn it on, it'll be the circle plus dot. Then it goes to just the 2 MOA circle, then the 32 MOA ring only, and then it turns off. And again, you're pressing the button to turn it back on. And the cool thing about the SCS Optics is they are a direct fit for the platform, so you do not need to worry about any of the plates like the wall behind me. They just directly fit, you don't have to worry about anything. This is what the reticle looks like inside, so you're able to see it, there's no issues. It adjusts to inside lighting. Here's what it looks like outside. Again, it's adjusting to the lighting, so you don't have to worry about anything. It does it automatically. And lastly, we get asked how quick does it respond to turning the lights on and off. So you guys, you can tell here, it responds very quickly. Okay, I did say I wanted to mention screws, and we do currently carry screws for all of these except for the MP2 as of this video. We are trying to source these, so chances are if you're watching this and it's been a couple months, hit us up, we might have found a source. But essentially the MP2 screws are very different from the other models because the holes basically go into the sidewall. And all the other ones here are in the middle, so there's more leeway and they're more lenient with what head screws you could use. Because of this, you have to have a really special head screw on the MP2. And again, currently we do not have that, but we are working towards getting some. Now, another thing I wanted to mention with the screws is the SCS carry, when you have to use M4 screws for like the Hellcat or the 43X, these need special heads. If you're not using the special heads, this is my demo one that I got, you'll see that if you don't use the special heads, it will go right into the sidewall there. So obviously you don't want that. We do sell the M4 screws with a tinier head. We also sell M3 screws if you need replacement, and we're working towards getting 6/32 screws. And while we're on the topic of screws, when these first were released, I heard tons of reports of the MOS screws shearing off onto the slide here. Obviously that wasn't great. It seems like Holosun fixed that issue since it was first done. But if you do want replacement screws, we have screws that are made in America for the MOS and the PDP. Another thing with the SCS Optics, when we were at SHOT Show this year, we did film a video for the APX A1 from Beretta. There was an SCS model at SHOT Show. We did confirm that that seems to be on the back burner, might not even happen. So if you did see that video, sorry to get your hopes up. Now, I think the SCS Optics are awesome, especially for beginners or someone who really values the co-witness of their pistol. Besides the P320, all of them will give you the best co-witness on your pistol. But really, this optic is a set it and forget it. You're going to install it. There's no plate, so it's super easy to do. Just use the screws that come with the optic. You're going to turn it on, set it to what reticle preference you have, and then that's it. Just make sure it gets sunlight every couple of years. I wouldn't be surprised if they made an RMR footprint version. I actually think that'd be pretty cool because a lot of people have asked about it. But I guess we'll see what they come out with. Let me know what questions you have on the SCS models. Any questions at all, whether it comes down to fitment, screws, or anything like that, we'll be able to help. Everything you saw in today's video is found at freedomgorilla.com. And as always, thanks for watching.